Hey traders from around the world, what's going on? It's me, your boy, Jerremy Alexander Newsome with reallifetrading.com. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. It is most certainly Friday, May the 12th. This week is over, and the only 2 days I got a chance to trade this week, or actively trade I should say at least, were Monday and today. I am on an incredibly rare, I was about to say very rare, but incredibly rare and very rare, pretty much the same thing. 3-week win streak right now. Another winning day. We actually placed 2 bullish day trades today in the markets. I'll talk about both of those, but sitting at 10.11 Rs for the month of May, and there are plenty of days left. I am jazzed, ready and pumped. Here's the SPY, and really there's not much to talk about the broader markets at this point, ladies and gentlemen. We're still just hanging out. Still bullish to neutral. Still like buy the dip. If you're looking at the hourly chart is your bill paying time frame. So if you kind of zoom in here to the hourly, here's the hourly chart. You'll notice a really pretty nice channel looking thing kind of going on here in your hourly chart. So you had a really nice double bottom right here, which would have been good for 3 or 4 day trade. But here's your support, here's your resistance, and that's pretty much what the hourly chart looks like. So if we break out above here again, look to buy the dip and then kind of go bullish. And if we trade back down to the 238 level, look to buy the dip. That's pretty much it on the SPY. Got a lot of requests today, so I'm going to move quick. Here's the IWM, which is the Russell 2000 ETF. And there was actually some really good premium on a bull put spread way the heck down here at 131, 130. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's the new official credit spread on the IWM. Let's talk about Apple, ladies and gentlemen. Ticker symbol AAPL, good Googa Mooga. This thing is at new all-time highs again today, and this was actually one of the sweet day trades we placed today. Today is Friday, right? So on early this morning, you'll notice this was a white candle gapping up. So it was a retest gap. So that means look to play the retest, right? White candle gapping up to a new all-time high. So the trade that we placed on Apple today officially, here was the 5-minute chart. I was watching the 5-minute, and let me actually turn on the pre-market a little bit. This will help you some. So here's kind of the pre-market, and you'll notice if I zoom out just a little bit, see if this kind of can capture some of this data. So this previous all-time high on Apple was right about here. So it broke above, you'll notice early this morning, it broke above that all-time high, right? So I wanted to play the retest. So zooming in here now on the 5-minute chart, when it was pulling out, I had an order set up here to buy, kind of above, right at that pre-market high of the day. Old resistance becoming new support. Stop was down here, and we played that with an option. If I remember correctly, the 156 calls expiring today, bought those at a 60-cent limit on a pullback with a stop at 30. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, that is $1.20. So if you're good at math, that is a solid little gain. We did peel off a little bit right here on Apple, but that was a really, really good trade. So Jesse, Justin Jeffries, a few of the traders, congratulations on Apple. Very, very well done. From here, I mean, it's a bullish retest gap. So here's your hourly chart on Apple. Oops, that's not it. There's been some weird data glitches recently on Apple. Not Apple, just TradingView in general. I need to shut the computer down and restart it. So here's Apple, and again, here's your previous all-time high right about there. So what I'll be looking for at this particular point in time is something like this. Don't know if we'll get that, but that's just what I'm keeping my eyes out for on ticker symbol AAPL. So many stock to look at, so many requests. Let's continue to do this. Here's Pandora, ticker symbol P. Pandora, this was requested really right now. If we zoom out to a weekly chart, well, notice we are breaking down a little bit of a support. There was a lot of volume that was coming in recently. And you'll notice back here, this kind of a cute double bottom right there that kind of acted as a support resistance when we bounced here. Well, now we've broken below that level on Pandora with some really good volume coming in. Potential support down here around 8. If you're looking at playing Pandora, I would say a retest and then a shorting opportunity would probably be what you'd want to keep your eyes on. US Steel doing its best impression of a rock in water. Here's your weekly chart on steel, US Steel, and we are right at the 100 simple moving average on a weekly chart. I'm not saying it's going to bounce, but there's been a lot of traders saying, Jeremy, hey, when's US Steel going to bounce bullish? The answer is, I'm not sure, but I'll be watching for it closely sometime within the next 3 weeks. I would expect X to start bouncing down here, so feel free to keep your eyes on it. It very well may not. and it's definitely dragging some bulls down with it, myself included in that list. But at this point, I mean, it's at a nice level. Dividends have been paid. It's kind of retesting this triple bottom pattern down here. Nice little triple bottom. Got this beautiful gap action. So we're just retesting that right now. We'll see if we actually bounce. Going to keep waiting on it, being patient on it, and we'll see what happens from here. Ticker symbol SQ, which is Square, one of my favorite stocks for the year and probably going forward, was a beautiful pennant, phenomenal bullish gap and go just a few days ago. And this blue pennant pattern was drawn actually that same day on the 4th of May, 2017. I kind of said, hey, this is likely what it's going to do. So shout outs to Mr. Squiggles on SQ. But realistically, if you're playing Square with this trend, with this volume, I mean, be bullish, right? It's a very strong bullish trend. Buy the dip. Here's CRM and Salesforce continuing higher. I actually missed this trade, and my friend Deepak was checking out this one, and he asked about it right here on this day when it broke out. So beautiful bullish candle, all-time high. This is also a retest gap. So what I was expecting I was expecting a retest. It did retest, but it didn't quite make it to 82.48. That's where I wanted that limit buy to fill. That never happened on CRM, but if you're in CRM right now, bullish is unquestionably the edge. Earnings right around the corner, and I'll be interested to see what happens on earnings just a few days away. Bottom line is, if it gaps down, unless it can really, really trap some folks, and that gap would need to happen really below 85 or most incredibly below 82.54. If we can open below one of those two price levels, then maybe CRM is bearish on the daily. But let's say we open like right here, for example, strong bullish trend, even though it would trap some people, I would look for CRM to get bought up after that particular point in time. Here's Facebook. Facebook not really doing that much at all. Let Facebook calm down a little bit here, folks. Here's the weekly chart on Facebook. You're really, really getting extended. Probably a little bit of a pennant pattern right here. Nice continuation pattern of sorts if, of course, this thing does break bullish. But what I will say is I like these three patterns, three candles right here kind of in a row. And I mean, unquestionably the trend's bullish, right? So if you're looking at playing it bullish, a break above the high of these last three candles would be more bullish than bearish in my personal opinion. But I don't really have anything else on Facebook right now. I will say there were some traders in some shares over earnings. And I posted not too long ago before the gap actually happened, kind of my thoughts on what you could do for those traders who are in some shares. And there's a lot of real life traders in Facebook. Remember, they own WhatsApp and Instagram, three of the biggest social media platforms on the planet, all under one roof. So here's May 2nd. This is actually what I would love Facebook to do, but it just doesn't appear that it's going to happen. And when I say this is what I want it to do, that's because I would love to buy it at 132 personally. But this little note, I talked about a 170 July covered call. If you did that, you can most certainly buy that back at this point. And I mentioned actually on May 5th, for those that did that covered call, you could buy to close for 30 cents. So you actually already made the majority of your money on that covered call, and you could consider a 160 for July if you still have some shares. So anyway, watch for Facebook to break out bullish, sure. But personally, I'm keeping an eye on it for it to go sideways a little bit more and then watch it continuing higher from there. NVIDIA, good grief. If you didn't make money on NVIDIA the last 3 or 4 days, consider yourself one of the few. Beautiful, phenomenally gorgeous, wonderful in every way. This is the Penelope Cruz of gaps, if you will, on NVIDIA. Just an amazing, amazing bullish gap and go on earnings. And in fact, if you get a chance over here on the 8th of May in TradingView, and remember, you can follow us on TradingView for free. I posted the NVIDIA pre-earnings analysis. Now, let me just preface by saying I was one of those people who didn't make money on this gap, right? I was that guy because I was busy. I was at the conference. I'll tell you guys about that in just a little bit. But, I mean, we had three squares. Pretty much the red square, if it gapped, would be bearish. The two greens would be bullish. It opened right above that pivot, right in that bullish square. Phenomenal bullish gap and go, trapping everybody. Everybody getting trapped. Beautiful triangle. Break out that triangle, folks. NVIDIA from here is absolutely unequivocally going higher. It's not going to specifically do it tomorrow, but here's what you would want to watch for on NVIDIA. Really nice resistance. I'm hoping we get something like this over the next 2 to 3 weeks, some kind of pullback, and then absolutely looking for a bullish position on NVIDIA. You notice the exact opposite of NVIDIA, Snapchat, because I'm on SNAP. Now, for those of you who subscribe to the weekly options newsletter, congratulations. We were able to snag some gains. So we bought some puts on Snapchat back on this day right here for next Friday. They were $20 puts. and we bought those for $1.30. Most traders were able to sell those over earnings for $2.40. Now we are still holding some. Here's what's interesting about Snapchat. This one had some easy shorts on Thursday. But nice little triangle. I still have my wager on Snapchat. If I'm wrong on this wager by 59 cents, that'd be pretty funny. But this is a black candle gapping down. Here's what I'm expecting Snapchat to do. Something like this, potentially. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but I got 3 weeks for Snapchat to be below 17. I got close, but sometimes close isn't good enough, especially if you're walking a tightrope or playing hand grenades or horseshoes. Who would play hand grenades? I'm not really sure. Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. I like this thing bullish still. Here's an hourly chart on Tesla. The trend is bullish unequivocally. Hourly chart, here's what I would look for. If I were, an active trader looking to play Tesla, I'd say, all-time high resistance. We're making higher lows. If we break out, I'm going to look to buy the retest and then look to go with the trend. That's pretty much Tesla. If you're bullish on Tesla, that's the right direction. Consider yourself smart. Coke and Pepsi, not really doing that much. I had these two requested. I'll look at these really quick. Coke is doing what Coke does, just longer term, bullish to neutral, slow grind to the bullish city. Here's your weekly chart on Coke, and you got a pretty nice double bottom here on Coke. Right there, very easy to see. Closed with a neckline, retested it. Next target's 45-ish, but it'll probably take a month or two for it to get there. Pepsi, same thing, bullish to neutral on a weekly or daily chart. Also had its nice little double bottom right here. There's a double bottom. All-time high on Pepsi is all-time high area anyway. All-time area. So buy the dip if it pulls back and look to be bullish on Pepsi, but really nice looking trend. Sears, well, safe to say that I'm always bearish on Sears because, well, no one shops there. Here's the weekly chart on Sears, down 6% today. Here's the daily chart. Phil actually requested Sears not too long ago, and a few other traders did as well. So Sears, Phil, you're looking at shorting off the 20 exponential moving average, which was Wednesday. Congratulations for you. And it also broke below my little support level, some good volume. Retail sectors in general getting beat up pretty bad today. So if you're looking at playing Sears, in my humble and personal opinion, I think you'd probably be keeping out a bearish eye on that particular position. LNG, this is the bullish day trade that we made money on today. The other one, I get a lot of people saying I don't day trade bullish. I don't all that often, but when the trade is there, I will play it. So here was the trade that we played today in the day trading room, and we set this one up about 10 or 15 minutes before it triggered. So 48.06 by 47.82 is the entry. And if we hop over here to the daily chart, you'll notice it was a black candle gapping up. What resistance is right here? Check this out. So here's the resistance. Where's the next resistance? Right there. No real resistance level on LNG. Very nice gap and go on black day, gapping up into a bullish candle. Here was the 5-minute chart, and you had this really nice, check out this extended hours chart. So really pretty extended hours time frame. You got this old support, new resistance right here. So we broke out a lot of volume in the early morning. We allowed the stock to come back, and this is when we took the trade. Bullish right there, and I mean, it just stormed the castle. Really, really good bullish trade. 2.1R just on that trade alone on LNG. It was amazing. So LNG going to continue a little bit higher. This is also a trade right here. This 45.83 by 43.13 was a bullish trade setup that we had that we set up on the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo, and it triggered on the 9th of May. And here's your 100 simple moving average on LNG, kind of to back that up. So that's why I was buying off of that 100. Huge bullish candle, buying the retest of that. So LNG, if you're in that next target, 51.48 on that particular stock. Next ticker, again, we got a lot of these. 3D printing. Woo-wee! Come on now, get you some. 3D printing on a weekly chart has broken out of its triangle finally. Here's my biggest tip on this one. Keep it on your bullish watch list. How about that? In fact, I've been keeping it on my bullish watch list. If you got a chance to remember, I've been posting these for free here at reallifetrading.com. You can hop over to the spring portfolio, and ever since March, we've been watching 3D printing and talking about its bullish nature. And you guys are going to like this. Sorry, I have to brag just for 8 seconds. It's maybe a little bit more than 8 seconds. Check out this analysis. This is dirty. This chart right here. So pretty much if you get a chance to go in and zoom in, I mentioned in my my write-up, I was like, hey, look for it to pull back into around 15 and play it long as a swing or sell some $13 puts again. Pretty much verbatim. Again, this is free, guys. You don't have to subscribe to anything. You can just hop over to Real Life Trading and act with it. But anyway, here is the daily time frame. This was the triple bottom, triple whatever you want to call it, inverted head and shoulders pattern. So there's the breakout, there's the pullback, and check out the low of this candle. The low of this candle, 1481. So if you bought at 15, whoa, up 5, 6, almost $7 a share on 3D printing. Boom! Loving it. Google, ticker symbol GOOGL. Google hanging out, really just looking at this one for Brian, my good friend over there in California. Brian with a 905, 900 bull put spread. Congratulations on your bull put spread expiring worthless, man. You're the man. Here's STWD. This was requested Starwood Properties. Here's a weekly chart of Starwood Properties, and looking at it really quick, I forget exactly who requested this one, but here's kind of that support. Let's pull into it a little bit. REITs are taking a little bit of a bath recently. I don't know exactly why. I need to look into that. Yeah, it's like the thing's going to pull back a little bit more. There's a lot of volume coming in the last 2 or 3 days. If you're looking at a REIT, watch or keep an eye out for a short retest and then a trade lower. That's just kind of what I'm thinking overall. And we got only 3 left. Again, a lot of requests. I love it. Thanks so much for asking for them, guys. OCLR, talked about this one not too long ago, this 837 support level. It's kind of been bouncing all around that time frame. You had earnings that really weren't that great, had some gaps on earnings. But now that that's all said and done with, it's back out of support. If you lost and are trying it earlier, good try. Bottom line, earnings does that sometimes. So at this particular point in time, if you were looking at OCLR, I like these bullish candles at the support. Just look for a pullback and buy the dip. Here's Deutsche Bank, ticker symbol DB. And really, Deutsche Bank, I don't have any position on Deutsche Bank, but what I can say is I want one. And I want to buy it down here at 1248. I like this 100 simple moving average on a weekly chart, 2034 acting as resistance. This is a white candle gapping up, so it's a retest gap. If Deutsche Bank continues to kind of flounder up here and then breaks lower when that 100 interacts with the price action, I'd probably look to short Deutsche Bank, and then as it trades into 1248, potentially buy the dip. So watch for that 100 simple on a weekly to act as a good resistance. Now, on the flip side, if Deutsche Bank breaks higher, retest, then you could look to buy that dip. And last but not least, pretty much the same thing, Credit Suisse, ticker symbol CS. And Credit Suisse, on the other hand, a little bit more bearish than Deutsche, with this gap down on the weekly chart. So here's the daily time frame. And again, I'm not personally going to go short these stocks. As you know, Credit Suisse has paid dividends in the past recently. So if you are short a dividend-paying stock, you do have to pay the dividends. Personally, I'm just going to look to buy the dip on Credit Suisse myself, or again, around 1297. So Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, pretty similarly traded. I don't know if I'll be in both of those at the same exact time, probably not. But if I had to pick the two, I'll just do a coin flip. Whichever one heads, I'll end up buying at the support. If you're looking at shorting it, there are some resistances here on Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank, and that's just my opinion. From there, create a trading plan and rock it out as you see fit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other questions, let me know. Next real life stock review is on Monday. And for those of you who asked about the security forum, honestly, one of the best experiences I've had in a long time. I met a lot of great people. Met a 4-star general, Joint Chief of Staff. I forget his first name, I apologize, but Mr. Goldfein. He's the Joint Chief of Staff for the Air Force, 4-star general. First time I've ever met a 4-star general before. So that was a fantastic experience. Met a 3-star general, a 2-star general. Met an amazing amount of people who just had a mindset that was totally different from me. So I have a business mentor, to give you guys a reason why I went. I have a business mentor, and I was asking him, he knows what I do, obviously, and I tell him kind of my day-to-day activities, and I said, hey, I'm very zoomed in to the micro details of the world, and one of my weaknesses, I feel like, is learning more about the macro level of the world. Really big picture, the 30,000 viewpoint. He's like, oh man, if that's what you want to get better at, that's what you want to learn, go to this thing. So it was the National Security Forum at the Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. They do it this time every year, once a year. If you want to go, if you love our military, our service women and men, mark that down on your calendar for this time next year. There's a 98% chance I'm going to go again next year. I really enjoyed it. Wednesday, we discussed big picture details on cyber attacks, cyber warfare, cybersecurity as it relates to the markets and day-to-day livelihood. We also talked about the Syria issue in depth. On Wednesday, we talked about China, and on Thursday, we talked about Russia. And pretty much just discussed how those countries affect what's going on with our pact with NATO, what we're going to do if XYZ happens, outlining specific strategies and implementations and things and thoughts and feelings and concerns and plans that our military have in order for each and every one of those. It was an amazing event. I truly enjoyed it. And so if you're watching this and you live in Birmingham, Alabama, get a chance to check out Maxwell Air Force Base next year, National Security Forum. They do it every single year at the Air War College. It was only like $130, I think, and I truly loved the experience. So anyway, I learned a lot. At least I feel like I learned a lot, and I met some great traders, and more importantly, I got some great connections to try to teach traders who are in the military specifically, learning a lot about the family and wellness plans and programs and the educational programs, educational assistance they have for our military. And if you know anything about that and you want to reach out to me, let me know. But I will let you know, next week I will be contacting a lot of different bases across the U.S. And I want to teach our servicemen and women this information about investing, how to protect themselves, what the market is, how to better implement it, how to better use it. I got a lot of really good ideas, a lot of things coming down the pike. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. RealLifeTrading.com just so happens to be, in my opinion, the best stock market education company on the planet Earth. It's a pretty big Earth. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. You rock. Have a great weekend. Be safe. I'm driving down to see my uncle in Dahlonega, Georgia this weekend. So yes, traveling again this weekend, but maybe things will calm down next week. Who knows? Either way, you guys rock. I'll see you Monday. And until then, remember, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.